All right, in this video, I'm going to show you a little bit about SeeSaw activities. SeeSaw is an app that is primarily used in elementary school. It kind of takes the place of Google Classroom as a central pub for turning in assignments, but really the neat thing about this is it serves as a digital portfolio that can follow a student from grade level to grade level. It also plays a really key role in communication with parents. Parents can sign up to link to their child's account and get notifications in real time of what their child is doing at school. So every time a child adds an activity or an assignment or a reflection on something, the parent can get a notification about it on their phone. This is really nice because parents can, number one, see firsthand what their child's strengths and weaknesses are, because parents really want an active role in their child's education and want to help. So that makes it very nice and clear and constant communication rather than the teacher having to email every child's parent every day about their strengths and weaknesses on a particular assignment. It also really helps when the kids go home and a parent, instead of just saying, "What did you do at school today?" they can say, "Hey, I saw the project that you uploaded about the solar system that you worked on in science class. Tell me more about the planet that you were researching." So I'm going to focus just in this video on the activities part. SeeSaw does lots of other things that would take much longer than this video, so I'm just going to focus on the activities portion. So first we're going to sign in. It's going to ask you if you're a teacher or a student. I'm going to show you right now what it looks like as a teacher. And I can sign in with my Google. Alrighty. And you're going to see that I have different classes here. I'm just going to show you my sample class that I created just for this video. So I'm going to go to the Activities tab, and it's showing an activity that I've already created, but I want to just browse the activity library. This is something really neat. It's fairly new, where they have a bunch of pre-made activities. So you can filter these, once again, through grade level, subjects, that kind of thing. So, for example, I'm going to show you second grade, and I'm going to look for graphing. And it's going to pull up activities that other teachers have created. I can click on them to see a little bit more about what her directions were for her students. It gives directions about graphing some of these colors of candy hearts. So if I wanted to use this one, I could simply click share and then pick which class I wanted to send it to. I'm going to show you, though, if you would like to create your own activity, what that kind of looks like. You can go to My Library, and it'll show activities that you've created in the past. This is really nice so that if you have an activity you really liked last year and want to do it again this year, you don't have to start all over. It kind of banks all of them right here. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show you how to make a new one. So we're going to call this graphing. We're just going to call it graphing. And then here's where we're going to type instructions for our students to see. So I've got a set of directions already. I'm just going to paste in here. And you'll notice I have these strange colons with these words. And the reason for that is because it will now take this and replace it with a symbol. And I'll show you where I found those. Okay, so I'm just on the SeeSaw Help Center, and I just looked for SeeSaw icon shortcuts, and they give them all to you right here. So where it said colon plus colon, this symbol will now show up in the directions. The reason this is really great is for younger students, especially, maybe that have a little bit harder time reading or can't read lengthy directions, but when they see that symbol and they see it matching on their screen, they have a better understanding of what to do. So I love that feature. Once I've put in the directions, I can also add voice instructions. Once again, this is really great for struggling readers or just lower elementary. I can read these directions out loud to them. So I'm going to do that now. Tap the plus button, take a photo of your group's final graph, and then use the microphone and explain how you collected the data and created the graph. Also include why this information is important and what you plan to do with the new information. Tap the check to add to your journal. Okay, so now those audio directions are going to show up as well. And if I would like, I could add an example. You don't need to do this, but once again, if you would like to, you can. So I'm going to push attach example. And for this one, I was asking them to take a photo of something. So I'm just going to upload a file, a picture that I had already taken of a graph right on there. And then for the example, if I wanted, once again, to show them what I'm expecting, I'm going to record as if I'm a student really quick. My group chose to research favorite milk flavors. We collected the data through a tally chart and then made our bar graph with nice, neat bars and made sure to include a title at the top and labels at the bottom. We found that lots of people like strawberry milk, so we want to go to the cafeteria staff and ask if they can start selling strawberry milk as well as chocolate and white milk at lunchtime. So that would just be my example for the students to see. Depending on how guided you want your assignment to be, you don't have to add an example. Okay, so I've got instructions, audio directions, an example. I'm not having them edit any kind of template for this one. I'm going to go ahead and push save, and you're going to see in those directions, now do you see where it replaced that colon plus colon with the actual symbol throughout here. So now when I'm ready to send this assignment to my students, I can push share and pick the class. I'm going to pick sample class and say share. Okay, it says activity shared. So the students will have to sign in and then they can respond. So I'm going to show you now, I'm going to jump over to the iPad and show you what this looks like from a student perspective. So I'm signed in right now as a student. They use a QR code within the app to log in, but once your kids are logged in at the beginning of the year, if you're a one-on-one class, you can really just leave them logged in all of the time. So I'm going to just choose, for the sake of this one, to be JWE Jaguar. And I'm going to click on Activities. And there I see, this is the one I had created earlier, but here you can see that graphing one we just created together. I'm going to click, just like the directions say, the Add button. And now it's going to give me some choices. If I want to add a photo, video, drawing, camera roll, note, link, or a file from my computer. Once again, I can view the instructions up here. And then I can also play the instructions. I'm not going to play it just so it doesn't overlap my audio, but I could listen to the directions there. And I could also see the example assignment right here if I wanted to listen to the example that my teacher created. So I'm going to show you what that looks like as a student would turn theirs in. Okay, so I'm going to click on the photo button, and I'm going to take a picture of my graph. And now I'm ready to record my reasoning that my teacher asked me to do of how I collected my data, how I made the graph, and why it's important. So I'm going to do that really fast. My group decided to research the ways that we like to work in our classroom. We collected data with a tally chart by going around and asking each student in our class which way they like to work. We found that most people like to work in partners. We think this is important because we want to take this to Mrs. Craun and ask her to do more activities where we get to work with our partners, since that's what we enjoy the most. Okay, when I'm happy with it as a student, I'll just push the check like the directions told me to. Once again, I can view the instructions. I've already recorded with the microphone, taken a picture, recorded. I'm ready to add to my journal with the check mark. So up here in the right-hand corner, I'm going to click the check. I'm happy with it. And now I pick my name. So I was just pretending to be JWE Jaguar. And it's going to upload. And now, as you can see, it shows up in my journal if I'm JWE Jaguar. So I'm going to jump over to the teacher version now to show you what it looks like once students have turned theirs in. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added my project from the perspective of two different students, but now over here on my desktop, I'm back on the teacher side of it. So on my home page, I'm just going to go to activities at the bottom, and you'll see right here's the graphing activity that we created together, and it says that I have 2 responses waiting for teacher approval. This is a really nice setting too, because I can ensure that nothing inappropriate gets posted because I have to approve everything first. So I'm going to click review. And you'll see here's the original assignment, and here's the students. I can see that JWE Jaguar turned his in, and Susie's student turned hers in as well. So I can click on JWE Jaguars, and right here I can see his graph. I can listen to his recording. If it looks good, it's appropriate, I can like it. I could comment on it that says, way to go, JWE Jaguar. Awesome graph. Alrighty, and I can post that. And then there's a few other little new features. So there's private notes. So if here is where I wanted to put a grade, so it looks like this graph is good, but maybe I could say 95%, don't forget a title, if he forgot the title to his graph. And that would just be private to that particular student, not to everybody to be able to see. There's also this skills feature. I don't mess with that too much. That's if you wanted to label this by maybe like the SOL of which particular skill this went with, like graphing. And then folders are a very useful feature. So if you want to stay really organized, you can create different folders. So at the beginning of the year, I always create lots of folders. Like maybe I'll just do one that's math, and maybe I'll make a folder that's reading. And I would usually do all of this setup beforehand, so I wouldn't have to worry about that now. And I could do another one that's just newsletters. I could do one that is maybe pride work that they're extremely proud of, that kind of thing. So then I can pick which folder I want this to go in. The students can also do this as well. So I'm just going to have them add it to the math folder. Okay, and now that's going to show up in his math folder. So I would go through and once again then approve each one. Oh, I forgot to push the approve. And it's now going to show up in his journal. So I could go through and do that for each of the students. The reason I really like the activities feature is now all of this assignment is in one place. I don't have to go through the actual like journal class feed and scroll through all of them. Like this isn't a very good example because that's just the one I created for this. But like, for example, my homeroom, I don't have to filter through all of these to find that activity. I can simply go to the activities tab and find everybody's at once. So for example, within this class, you can see some activities that I did with my kids this year is this Lego, which one doesn't belong. And now I can click here and I can see all of my students' responses all in one place, which is a really nice way to stay organized. So let me know if you have any other questions about SeeSaw activities. Thanks for watching.